Garchomp is dominating, Incineroar's back on the top spot, and Sneasler's just chilling pretty much on the top again. But yes, the Louisville Regionals has just happened, has just finished, and the team was amazing. Huge congratulations to Andrew Zhang for completely dominating the competition, completely dominating finals round, by the way. Actually, it was a really good round. Holy cow. That round was absolutely amazing. But we went through a whole bunch of cool things. There was a whole bunch of cool Pokemon to see. And I'm actually really happy with the teams this time around. The teams were actually really solid and really, really good. It was kind of interesting to see how everything was kind of played out, but we'll go through it one by one. So this is the winning team, Andrew Zhang's awesome team, by the way. The rounds just dominated in the final. I can't like comprehend how much domination was done in the finals round. It was absolutely amazing. The match was absolutely great. Like, it was so fantastic. Like, if you want to watch any match, the finals match is definitely worth it. It is such a fantastic match to go through. But we're going to start things off with the team, and we're going to go off with Amoonguss. Amoonguss is back as well, up in the top spot. Any Pokemon that you want to see that you know is going to be popular in VGC at least is definitely dominating the top spot this time around this weekend. But yes, we have Amoonguss with the Citrus Berry. This is quite, you know, normal. Normally you see, you know, things like Citrus Berry, maybe Rocky Helmet with the Amoonguss, all these other cool things that Amoonguss kind of has here. Pretty much standard items as well. The Regenerator, of course. If you're not using Regenerator, what are you doing with your Amoonguss? It's just so straightforward to use Regenerator with Amoonguss. The Terra Fairy is also quite nice because it stays away from the it stays away from getting hit with fighting moves as well, so you keep up that resistance to fighting as you would, since a lot of these teams here, especially Incineroar and Porygon 2, are especially weak to fighting. But of course you have a whole bunch of other things, since you're not really hitting Amoonguss with poison type moves either. It's a very nice playstyle to get for Amoonguss, and it's a very good defensive Terra typing to go for as well. We also have the moves of Rage Powder, Spore, Protect, and Pollen Puff. Normally around the start of Regulation H, mainly because of Dondozo, you would see things like Clear Smog as well in Amoonguss, but you can kind of swap that out now with Protect, since you're not really seeing Dondozo kind of like sprout up anymore. Kind of everyone's got the download on Dondozo. No one's really using it that much. We did see 1 or 2 Dondozo in the Top Cut, which was, you know, amazing, but again, not really so much so that it's just dominating the competition, because again, everyone's just got the download on Dondozo by now. It's very easy to get around him by now. But yes, Rage Powder as well to, you know, redirect things. It's basically like a subpar follow me, prevents anyone to hit your teammate. But if you have safety goggles and you are a grass type, it doesn't work, obviously. Same thing with Spore. But of course we have seen a lot of safety goggles here, in most cases on Incineroar, and again, we'll get to that in a minute. And Pollen Puff there just to get healing onto your teammates. This Amoonguss is mainly here for support purposes. The Pollen Puff to regenerate HP, Rage Powder and Spore to keep everybody safe, and Protect to keep Amoonguss safe itself. It's a very good supportive moveset for Amoonguss. It's very nice to see, and again, Amoonguss just back on top. Of course we have Incineroar. Big Boy Cat is back, rocking around the top spot. Pretty much your standard Incineroar set here. Safety goggles, which is mainly something that you see on Incineroar. Again, if it's not Citrus Berry, it's safety goggles. Intimidate, which is basically the main ability of Incineroar here. It's hidden ability, but let's be real, we all know it's the main ability of Incineroar here. And then also the Terra Ghost to steer away from fighting type moves, which Incineroar obviously doesn't like to get hit by. And of course we have the Flare Blitz, knockoff, fake out, parting shot moveset. Pretty much your standard Incineroar moveset, and it shows. It is quite honestly the best moveset you can give to Incineroar. It is amazing. It is amazingly good. Huge combination of offense and defense for Incineroar. It's great. We have the Terra Flying Sneasler. Now this is where Sneasler's starting to change here, because as we saw last time in the last regional, we've been seeing the Focus Sash, we've been seeing the Poison Touch, been kind of like taking out on Burden, but with the Terra, it's normally been Terra Stella to get like a nice bit of extra damage, but we're kind of seeing a little bit of a flying Terra Sneasler here, but this is mainly to coincide with Garchomp, and again, we'll get to Garchomp in a second, but this is mainly to coincide with Garchomp to kind of keep Sneasler safe, since obviously Garchomp with the Earthquake doesn't really like getting hit with Earthquake too much. So going to Terra Flying, you're completely immune to Earthquake, so you have 2 very fast, heavy hitting Pokemon out there on the field that can just do amazing amounts of damage very quickly. And like we said before, the Poison Touch is there just to kind of, you know, get extra benefits off of that Diaclaw, because again, you have a chance of paralyzing, sleep, causing them to sleep, or poisoning, and Poison Touch just boosts up that chance of going Diaclaw. And since you are already a really fast Pokemon, you don't really need to take advantage of that Unburden. You can do it if you have something like a Psychic Seed that we've normally seen with Indeedee, or, you know, Grassy Seed with Rillaboom, but in this case, Focus Sash seems to be like the main thing here, since most times you can kind of two-shot things anyway. So it's kind of nice to see Sneasler kind of going a bit more on the Poison Touch side rather than just Unburden and just going like absurdly fast. We also have the moveset of, again, Diaclaw and Close Combat. Those are like the main two attacking moves that you're going to see on the Sneasler. Sneasler pretty much falls over to most hits anyway, so Close Combat isn't really that much of a negative. And we also have Coaching and Protect. So like I was saying, Diaclaw and Close Combat are the main two moves that you are going for. And it's pretty straightforward. The other two moves that you have outside of Diaclaw and Close Combat can pretty much be anything that you want. And Sneasler has like such a wide range of moveset. I might make a video on explaining, going into detail, why Sneasler is just so like essentially broken. But Sneasler's just an amazing Pokemon, honestly. Like, you've got so many moves that can kind of like fit in those last two slots. You could obviously got Protect. Coaching is an amazing move as well because it's so fast. Most Pokemon get good benefit out of it. You've got things like Taunt, you've got Fake Out, you've got Acrobatics. So if you go to that Terra Flying, that just hits a lot harder. And if you get hit with if you get to Focus Sash range, that means Acrobatics just goes a lot better. You have so much to go for with Sneasler, and it's absolutely amazing to see Sneasler go so freaking crazy here. And then, yeah, going on to the Garchomp now. I've been noticing a lot that Garchomp is going into the going into the Clear Amulet side of things now, because most times Garchomp would normally see with a Life Orb. That was kind of like the balance here. It was either Life Orb or it was either Clear Amulet, but we're seeing more onto the side of Clear Amulet here, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, it's very nice to see, actually. So Garchomp going into that Clear Amulet side means that you're not getting hit with Intimidate, you're not getting slowed down with anything like Icy Wind. You're going into like a pretty nice like slot here. Rough Skin is obviously the main thing here. Even Sandveld isn't going to work. Even in Sand Team, Sandveld isn't really that good anyway. The Terra Fire on Garchomp, like we said last time in the last regional when we saw Garchomp, it's either Terra Fire or Terra Steel. Those are the main two Terras that you see, and a lot of them was the case. We also have, again, the whole standard Garchomp moveset: Earthquake, Protect, Stomping Tantrum, Dragon Claw. Those are like the main moves that you see out of Garchomp, and that's just the best moveset that he can get, in my opinion, honestly, because it's just so good. You have Earthquake for huge stab spread, you've got Protect to keep yourself safe, Stomping Tantrum for a one shot there, so if your opponent wants to hit a Protect there, you're just going to hit with double damage Stomping Tantrum as well as getting hit with stab. And then Dragon Claw is just a stab dragon move, just in case you run into a flying type that just can't get hit with ground type moves, period. Garchomp is just an amazing Pokemon, honestly. We have Porygon 2. A lot of Porygon 2 is being used lately. And Porygon 2 is absolutely amazing. With the Eviolite, it is incredibly bulky. Like, it is incredibly bulky, and it is so insane to see how bulky this thing is. The Terra Ground as well, like before we'd see, Terra Fighting, we'd see Terra Ghost. And again, we're going back into this thing now where I'm seeing another form of Porygon 2 starting to come out here. Because again, like at the beginning, everyone would go Terra Ghost on Porygon 2 to avoid fighting types, and then King Gambit was a thing. So then you went Terra Fighting to ignore King Gambit, and now we're going into the Terra Ground on Porygon 2. I said this last time in the last regional that we wrote down, that like it's more fun to me to see what everyone's going for the Terra type on Porygon, because it seems like no matter what Terra type you put on Porygon, it's always such a good thing to see. Like, it's always such an amazing like outcome. It does so well on it, and especially because of that download as well, you get a potential chance of going +1 on your special attack stat, which is great. Terra Blast just hits like really hard both inside and outside of Terra, because you've got stab on the Terra normal, and then you've got stab on the normal, and if you go into Terra, you've just got the stab from Terra Blast anyway. You've got Ice Beam as well. This is really good, especially against things like Garchomp or other flying types that want to steer away from Garchomp. You have Recover and you have Trick Room. I want to make a call out here, just like real quick. I just want to make a real call out here. I think ice types are going to be very, very underlooked for the main bit of this time. I feel like ice types are going to be very, very underlooked. There's one Pokemon specifically that I really, really want to see like kind of surge up in usage, and I feel like it's going to be a very, very amazing slot here, and that is Mamoswine. And I'm going to expand more on that. If you guys want me to expand more on that and make it into a video, let me know. But I just have this really weird feeling that like there's an open slot. In my opinion, there's an open slot in the metagame right now, and I feel like something like Mamoswine can really fill in that slot very well. Ground type is amazing. A lot of Pokemon that are in the metagame right now are weak to ice, like Garchomp. Like, everyone wants to go into the Terra Flying. You've got a lot of dragon types that want to go for it. You've got a lot of grass types like Amoonguss, and anyone that wants to Terra Grass to stay away from Amoonguss. You've got a lot of good openings for ice and ground, and I think Mamoswine fits that bill very well. Not to mention that it steers away from Intimidate thanks to Oblivious, but I will touch on that at another day. If you guys want me to touch on that, I will do, absolutely. But before that though, Goldengo as well as the last Pokemon here, and Goldengo is starting to go towards a more protective set. So we're seeing a lot more Life Orb on Goldengo. Like before, in the start of Regulation Age, we'd see Choice Specs, we would see, and then we went over where we'd see something like Metal Coat, or we'd see, you know, if anything, Spell Tag, maybe once or twice. We'd see a Citrus Berry as well, it's like here and there. But now we're starting to see a Life Orb Goldengo, which is kind of nice. You just get big amounts of damage anyway on both Make It Rain and Shadow Ball at the cost of like a little bit of your HP, and you still get access to things like Nasty Plot. You still get access to Protect. You're not like locked into a choice there, and you're not prioritizing one typing over the other. Life Orb is that very, very nice way of you know, getting a perfect balance between the two, which I think is honestly very nice. But yeah, the Terra typing, Terra Water, is kind of interesting. One thing that I've kind of noticed about a lot of players that have been using Goldengo, especially this weekend, is that Goldengo's starting to go towards more towards protective Terra types. So like before, it'd be, you know, pure Terra Steel, and that way Make It Rain would just do a whole bunch of more damage, and you know, you just kind of like run with the game with Goldengo going Terra Steel, Nasty Plot, Make It Rain, and just sweep with the game, right? But now we're starting to see a lot more of defensive Terra types for Goldengo, like the Terra Water especially. Like the Terra Water is very, very useful here because you're staying away from fire types, and a lot of people are liking to, you know, a lot of people are very much enjoying going to more towards that typing, because you would want to go Terra Grass, but again, fire typings is there, like Pokemon like Incineroar, like Sneaslers around, you know, all that stuff. You don't really want to get hit with that grass typing, so Terra Water is like the next best thing, because you aren't weak to poison you aren't weak to poison if you was to go Terra Grass, and you're not weak to fire anymore if you don't Terra at all, which is, you know, very nice. So it's an amazing like concept here, and I'm very much on the board of seeing more defensive Goldengos here. And yeah, it's really good. So this was the winning team to go through. It's a very nice it looks like it's a very nice set here, where like you've got control, you have a lot of control in the field. Like you've got a lot of good Pokemon here that can really take control of the field. You've got Sneasler that's just like out blitzingly fast and can kind of support everyone through coaching. You've got Porygon to kind of do Trick Room or anti-Trick Room if you really need it, if there's a team that uses Tailwind. You've got Goldengo, who's just like an absolute sweeper if you've got like the right setup. You've got Incineroar, who's honestly just Incineroar, Garchomp being able to do crazy amounts of damage, and then Amoonguss being that like huge defensive wall, going like, if you want to get through the team, you have to get through me sort of thing. And it's just absolutely amazing. It's very, very good amounts of pressure, it's very, very good amounts of defense, and it's very, very good amounts of support. And you know, again, congratulations to first place. This was absolutely such an amazing team. And of course, we can't go through talking about first place without going through second place as well. Again, this was a very interesting team, and we're gonna kind of like skim through this really quickly. We're just gonna go through like we're gonna talk about like the main Pokemon that you kind of see here first off, and then we're gonna talk about the Pokemon that kind of caught me off guard a little bit here. So obviously Garchomp, pretty much same thing. Life Orb Garchomp, like we said, you see the Life Orb or Clear Amulet Garchomp, pretty much same thing. Rough Skin again, because that's the best ability. Terra Steel, like we said, it's either Fire or Steel. It's one of the two. In this case, it was Steel. And same moveset. Dragon Claw, Earthquake, Protect, Stomach Tantrum, pretty much same moveset. We see Dragonite here with the Lumberry, again, pretty much something that we've been seeing a lot more since like the start of, you know, the regulations here. It's kind of like shifted more away from the choice band inner focus Dragonite. I'm kind of going more towards a defensive, picking off over time multi-scale Dragonite, which is very, very nice here. Going into Terra Normal with the E-Speed, which is, you know, quite standard. Stomping Tantrum, Ice Spinner, and then Protect to keep itself safe, which is very, very nice. Multi-scale can actually come in like, you know, such a huge clutch here for Dragonite, which is very, very nice. And then the King Gambit as well, and again, something that's really been changing with King Gambit, because we're normally seeing you know, the Black Glasses, Terra Dark, Kotal Cleave, Sucker Punch, King Gambit, but now we're seeing more. I'm noticing there's a lot more of a defensive Assault Vest King Gambit, where, you know, we've now got Iron Head. This one had Assurance, which was quite nice. So the way that this team plays is that they play outside of Trick Room. They've got slow Pokemon, but they also play outside of Trick Room. But if Trick Room was ever played, they have, you know, they have Torkoal and King Gambit to kind of stay toe to toe with them, which is quite interesting and it's quite nice. I really, really like this concept. And, you know, Assurance is there just because you're not obviously running Trick Room. You have no Trick Room Pokemon, like no Trick Room setters. So that way, you know, Assurance just really kicks in, because if you do something like Earthquake on Garchomp and you go Terra Flying King Gambit, you'd hit the Earthquake, hit both Pokemon, and then Assurance would just hit whoever it is, because they would have took damage by that turn, which is absolutely amazing. It's a good double up. It's a good way to like wrap up a double attacking play. It's really, really nice. Hisuian Typhlosion with the choice specs, again, something that we're not shocked of seeing here. Blaze, because that's honestly the best ability it has. It's not great, but it's the best one it has. And yeah, this one's again just a straight up like aggressive choice specs Pokemon. Terra Fire with the Eruption, Shadow Ball, Heat Wave, Overheat, again to boost up with Torkoal Sun. Very, very nice play here. And again, same thing, but this time with the Torkoal, it's a supportive Torkoal, which is something that we're not used to seeing. Normally we're used to seeing, you know, Torkoal being a Trick Room sweeper with like the Charcoal, Terra Fire, you know, Eruption, Heat Wave, so more or less the same thing that we see on Typhlosion here. But now this time it's more of a supportive Torkoal, where we have the eject pack where it can do a one-off overheat, get the special attack drop and switch out for another mon. Or if something like Incineroar was to intimidate it on turn 0, you'd be able to switch out immediately, which just gets you a good setup. And then now we've got, but this time it's more of the, you know, a supportive Torkoal where we've got Helping Hand, we have Overheat, we have Burning Jealousy as well, where it's like if there was a Pokemon that was to say do Bulk Up or Swords Dance, Burning Jealousy would just hit them straight away with that. So if it kind of forces you to not use any setup moves because you're just going to get hit with a really big amount of damage, not to mention the Sun boosting that at the same time, which is very useful here. And then obviously we have the Jump Bluff as well with the Covert Cloak. This is more of your, this is kind of like your budget Whimsicott basically, but with how fast it is, especially with the Chlorophyll in, it's basically Prankster unless there's a way, you know, to fake it out. But even if you did, Covert Cloak just stops it completely, so you'd need to find like another way to stop Whimsicott, or not Whimsicott, Jump Bluff. See, I'm already getting confused. But yeah, the Terra Dark as well to stop it from getting hit with anything like Taunt on Pranksters like Whimsicott or Grimmsnarl, of course. And then we also have just Leaf Storm as like a big one-off hit here, Sleep Powder because that's just essential for Chlorophyll Pokemon that's not like aggressive, Encore and Tailwind as well. Like I said, it is your budget Whimsicott here, just to make use of that Chlorophyll, just to get like a big one-off damage here. So if any Pokemon was to threaten, you know, Torkoal or Typhlosion, ground types, rock types, water types, Jump Bluff's just there to just quickly sweep it out and then just get the job done with the rest of them, which is, you know, it's really nice to see. It's really cool. I'm a fan of the Jump Bluff, I can't lie. It's a pretty useful thing. But yeah, like we saw in the match, personally, the match that I saw, when you get locked in a way where it's like, if you get stuck with, you know, Torkoal and Jump Bluff, and Torkoal's been spamming out Overheat, Jump Bluff hasn't really got an attacking move that doesn't keep its stats the same. So eventually you're just going to keep whittling away at your own special attack to the point where you don't really do enough damage. That's kind of like my gripe with it. I would personally do something like Energy Ball. That way, yeah, you don't do as much damage straight out the gate, but you do the same amount of consistent damage over time, which is, you know, you could go either or. You could go either or because obviously Jump Bluff is not the most bulkiest of Pokemon. So again, you could go either or for both situations, and either way, it's fine. But of course, this won second place, so clearly it has, you know, somewhat of a presence. It's amazing. It's an amazing moveset, and of course, like seeing Chlorophyll supporters is just absolutely amazing thing to see. Not even to mention Jump Bluff is just fast enough on its own as well. So, you know, kudos to second place. It was really nice. It was really cool. Can't wait to see more of it. Really excited to see this. Now, my favorite part of the video, going through teams that I actually really enjoyed, that I really enjoyed, that I really love to see. So this first team got 5th place, and it consisted of Cerulege and Gastrodon. I have been such a fan of Gastrodon in this regulation, and I've been wanting to use Gastrodon so badly within this within this regulation. It has been absolutely insane. I think Gastrodon was absolutely amazing back when Rain was a thing. Obviously, now that Rain is not so much of a thing anymore, it's kind of hard to put Gastrodon in kind of like this weird, you know, weird playstyle, because of course everybody's still using Rillaboom, but no one is really using Rain that much anymore. Like, people are still using Archaludon, but Archaludon doesn't use water type moves. It's more so for Pelipper, but not really many people's using Pelipper so much anymore, at least. You do see a few water types here and there, but again, not so much where it's just like Gastrodon is a presence, so it's kind of a shame. But the Cerulege, though, I am very happy about the Cerulege. It's very nice to see, like, some presence outside of, you know, this line that's not Armarouge, because, oh my god, I hate Armarouge. But yes, Cerulege is just an absolute amazing Pokemon. Again, the Flash Fire is just an amazing ability to have with the leftovers. Going into that Terra Grass, which means that, especially with that Flash Fire, you take off one of its weaknesses. Now it's only weak to, you know, Flying, Bug, etc, etc. Bitter Blade to always recover HP. That on top of the leftovers, you get just a whole bunch of damage out of it. You add the Bulk Up on top of that, you just get a whole bunch of healing out of it. And leftovers gets you a little bit more healing as well. It's an amazing set to give as well. Protect and Shadow Sneak for priority, which is just always amazing to see. Really happy to see Cerulege here. I'm really happy to see Cerulege like do a lot of good damage here. We have the Gastrodon. Normally you'd see leftovers on the Gastrodon, but in this case we have the Citrus Berry just to let Gastrodon get a hit with you know, a lot more moves here, which is very nice. We have the Storm Drain, which is like obviously the best typing you can give, or the best ability, sorry, that you can give Gastrodon. The Terra Poison as well works very nice here. You now turn that ×4 weakness to grass into a resistance, which is amazing. And of course we have Earth Power, Protect, Clear Smog, and Ice Beam. Earth Power and Ice Beam are just absolutely amazing moves to go for here, and then you've got Clear Smog just in case for Dondozo or any Pokemon that wants to, you know, get like really nice setup with Swords Dance or Bulk Up or, you know, Quiver Dance or etc, etc. It's just a really nice like tech to bring in there, honestly. Again, Sneasler, pretty much same thing. Diaclaw, Close Combat, Fake Out, Coaching, same thing that you see. Terra Ghost to stay away from any opposing fake outs. Unburden with the Focus Sash, which means if you get it put down to Focus Sash, you're not winning 1v1s anymore because he's just going to double its speed and just absolutely destroy you unless you have priority, obviously. So it's, again, it's completely fine. It's a completely nice thing to see. Loaded Dice Dragonite was very interesting because of the scale shot, which means thanks to Loaded Dice, it will always hit like 4 or 5 times, which is very, very nice. And you always gets faster over time, which again isn't too bad, to be quite honest with you, but you do drop your defense as a, you know, as a precaution. But I guess in that case, you kind of have like Coaching with Sneasler to kind of like reset it in a sense, which is, you know, kind of nice. And then the Terra Fairy as well to kind of keep it going, because again, Terra Fairy is just an amazing defensive typing. It's very great, and it also keeps you immune to any dragon types that want to hit Dragonite like outright, which is again really great. Pretty much standard Rillaboom set here. Miracle Seed, Terrafire, high horsepower over U-turn, and the rest of the moves are pretty much the same. And then King Gambit again with the Assault Vest, Terra Flying as well, same thing. Kotal Cleave, Sucker Punch, Iron Head, and Terra Blast this time. Normally again you'd see something like Low Kick, or you'd see something like that. It's either Low Kick or Terra Blast as the last slot. That's kind of like where you see on the Assault Vest set. And finally, the last team that I want to talk about, I don't really want to go too much into this. I just want to bring up this team that got that hit the top 12. I think it got literally 12th. I just want to bring up this team specifically because the boy Mimikyu got top 12, and I'm so happy about that. Mimikyu is like my second favorite ghost type Pokemon of all time, and I just want to say I stand a Mimikyu king. Like, this is great. Like, just to see Mimikyu hit top 12 was just absolutely amazing. Life Orb set with Disguise, going into that Terra Ghost to get boosted Shadow Claw and Shadow Sneak, Play Rough as well for Stab, and then Trick Room just as like a quick, you know, anti-Tailwind set, or just to get rid of other players' Trick Room as well. And because of that Disguise, you have to double up into it, which is just, you know, absolutely amazing. It's absolutely fun, but pretty much like the same set that you would kind of see everywhere else, to be quite honest with you. Goldengo, pretty much the same. Citrus Berry Goldengo this time, not like Life Orb or Metal Coat or Specs. Again, going into that Terra Water there. Garchomp, Choice Scarf, which is another kind of weird niche set that you see for Garchomp. It just hits really, you know, hits really quick out the gate, but no Earthquake though, because of course no one here is really that Terra Flying type. Standard Rillaboom set, Saluna with the Assault Vest, which is, you know, quite interesting. You don't really see Assault Vest that much on Ursaluna, but seeing it with the Assault Vest is kind of nice, especially with that Vacuum Wave taking up that last slot instead of Protect, which is, you know, quite interesting. And then obviously Sneasler, which is pretty much the same as any other set that you'd say on the Sneasler. Terra Grass as well is quite niche. Going for Protect and not Coaching as well is also quite niche. Me personally, I would have done Coaching to boost up the Mimikyu, since that seems like to be the main case here. But of course, I can't complain. Top 12, Mimikyu, let's go. Hell yeah, Mimikyu King. And then lastly, I'm just going to talk about the top 12. Of course, this is something that we cover every single time we do a regional, just to see how exactly the metagame is shaping up to be. And it's also quite interesting to see like how many people are using like said Pokemon in every regional that comes up. So on the day one, we're seeing Sneasler actually do, you know, quite well, being like the main Pokemon. Again, Sneasler's just been like that dominant force of nature so far lately. It has been absolutely amazing. Like, Sneasler just has so much presence. It can be really great offensively. It can be really good support. It is just so amazing of a Pokemon to have, like, to the point where it's like having Sneasler gets you in a really, really good position like a good 90% of the time. It is an amazing Pokemon to have. Again, same Pokemon that we kind of see from last time. Rillaboom's obviously running around everywhere. Incineroar, King Gambit, Amoonguss is getting more of traction, which is great because you're staying away from, you know, super effective Diaclaws are just going into neutral, and, you know, you're forcing out like all these cool random situations with Amoonguss. And going at the end here, the pseudo legends are kind of going ham. Like, Garchomp's getting used a lot more, Dragapult's around, Dragonite is around as well, and on day one as well, the main weather setter seemed to be Pelipper, so Pelipper Archaludon is still running around a little bit here on day one, which was a quite nice thing to see. Like, nice to see, you know, Archaludon still kind of making havoc in rain, even though, you know, everyone's starting to get a little bit of the download for that. And then you can kind of see that changed into day two. So going into day two, again, Sneasler is just, you know, again, such a menace to society. Goldengo is getting used a lot more, so Goldengo might be starting to see a comeback a little bit here, just because Good as Gold is just absolutely amazing. The typing that he comes out with is great as well. King Gambit's also going up as well. Incineroar actually overtook Rillaboom, which was quite interesting. Amoonguss pretty much more or less in the same spot that he is here. Garchomp getting used a lot more. Dragapult and Dragonite, those three seem to be the main pseudo legends that you're seeing running around in the format, just because all three of them have like such unique qualities to them. Garchomp hitting really hard, Dragonite having good abilities, and Dragapult being, you know, having good typing, which is, it's just all really great. I was really shocked to see Primarina sneak its way into the top 12 as well. That was, you know, really interesting. That was a very, very interesting thing to see. But of course, Primarina is just absolutely amazing. So it seems like the main starters that you want here are Primarina, Incineroar, and Rillaboom, which again, all three of them have just amazingly unique qualities. Like again, Rillaboom has an amazing ability. Primarina just has like, you know, amazing strategies, and Rillaboom is just a very nice techmon to put in there. Most times it's like if you're struggling to think of a 6, Rillaboom does take up that slot pretty well. The main one that I kind of want to talk about here though is Porygon. Like Porygon, seeing Porygon like in this top 12 for day 2 is absolutely insane. So like the fact that it's this high up and the only other like genuine support mon around is Amoonguss is quite honestly shocking. I was expecting to see, you know, something like Indeedee pop up or something like that in terms of support, but no, Porygon seems to be coming up very, very well, just because it's so incredibly tanky. Like it tanks so much damage. It's honestly insane how much damage this thing takes with Eviolite. It is absolutely nuts, to the point where it's like you have to go absurd amounts of levels to one-shot this thing. It is absolutely insane. You can't take this thing out in like 1 or 2 turns. You need to be able to go the length and take Porygon out throughout like 3-4 turns, like 5 turns if anything. Porygon does have the ability to keep itself healthy for like the longest amount of time in the game, to the point where it's like even if it runs throughout the game, it will just still take you a while to get rid of it. It is fantastic. It's such an amazing Pokemon to deal with, honestly. But that's kind of it for the top 12, and that's kind of it for the rest of this video. Again, congratulations to Andrew Zhang for winning. It was an absolutely amazing team. It was an absolutely dominating finals matchup. It was so cool to see. It was honestly such an amazing match to see. But yeah, what was your favorite Pokemon of this regional? What was your favorite team to see? Like, what was your favorite match? I honestly can't wait to see how the metagame is again going to continue to shape up here. I'm still on that whole ride of, I believe Pokemon, like especially ice types, do have like such a force here in the metagame, because like we saw as well, like I was talking about earlier, like looking at the top 12, Amoonguss, Rillaboom, Garchomp, Dragonite, Dragapult, all these Pokemon being weak to ice. I feel like that's the key that's missing here, and a lot of people are using Alolan Ninetales, but I feel like there's more to it. I want to expand on that more. But again, we're going to talk about that in another time. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning out. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Again, let me know who your favorite Pokemon has been throughout this weekend past, and I will see you guys in the next one. Right, guys, take care of yourselves. See you soon. Okay, bye.